Let's connect with the management of RateGain Technologies. Bhanu Chopra, founder and CEO, joins us. Now, before I go to him, let me introduce this company. This is a new company which has made its debut in last quarter. The stock has done rather well after the listing. Markets are excited about the fact that it's a technology company. It's more like an aggregator. It is in the business of travel and hospitality and giving services in terms of aggregation. Now, this is one business where we know that aggregation and the customer choices are something which, you are in a world of abundance, and customer acquisition is something which is going to be key. Companies which are in the aggregator model are currently rewarded by the market. So let's understand the business model. Let's understand that why the quarter gone by was a rather strong quarter for the company. Bhanu, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Now, prima facie, if I look at the introduction of your company, it's an aggregator. It is in the business of hospitality, travel and tourism. Now, this is one sector which has gone through immense pain. Now, for a sector which is contracting, how come your business is growing? Here are the numbers. New bookings up 200%, revenue growth up 55%, customer acquisition up quite smartly. So for a sector which is growing and for a sector which is contracting, how come you are growing?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, thanks for having me, and a very good morning to you and your viewers. So first of all, let me tell you a little bit about RateGain. So we are a SaaS company providing solutions, as you mentioned, to travel and hospitality. And what we really do is help our customers, that's largely hoteliers, to acquire customers, retain them, and have a wallet share expansion. So we are basically providing an end-to-end platform that enables them to do, like you said, guest acquisition, and also currently focus a lot on pricing technologies as well.
We got you on a terrible line. We'll have to just dial and come back right to you. We've got you on a very weak connection. Let me put it this way. We'll just dial you right back up. We lost you there, so let's start again, just for the benefit of our viewers. My question is that you represent a sector in which you are aggregating demand and customers for the hospitality industry. This industry has gone through pain. Not pain, but this industry has gone through hell because of COVID. So if the industry is contracting, which is your customers, how come you are growing? You're growing in double digit, 50% plus. Connect the dots for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as I was mentioning that, we've seen a huge travel recovery happen just prior to this third wave, which really came about in the month of December. And so if you actually look at our numbers also from previous fiscal years, a lot of this was really travel recovery that was happening, and that's sort of reflected in our numbers as well. The other key point is, there is a structural and fundamental shift that we are seeing in the industry as well. Travel and hospitality traditionally has been the least digitized industry. And as a result of COVID, as you saw across other industries as well, we're seeing a massive move towards digitization. The other thing that's happening is, there's a talk about the great resignation, and our industry is also particularly hit by labor shortages. In fact, US, which is predominantly the major component of our revenues, saw almost 1 people resign in the month of November. And as a result, as there are labor shortages and movement towards digitization, it's benefiting companies like RateGain. And we're also seeing the larger, hotel chains are redefining what's core to them. So while they traditionally had in-house teams, are now moving more towards, working with partners like RateGain and getting the best-in-class products, which aids and helps acquire customers, retain them, and have a wallet share expansion.
What is the addressable market for you? I look at the number of hotels, the number is about 1 lakh. Is that the addressable market for you? Or that is just a number which is more like a headline number? And if I may add one more, which is that whom would you say is your nearest competition? Because in your business, there is a big dada, and that big dada is called Google, who loves to disrupt everybody.
So in terms of the overall addressable market, so as you noted, yes, we go after hotels, and the hotels that we are after, like if I give you the overall landscape, there are about 1 million hotels that we can really go after. But within even that million hotels, we segment to a particular customer base, which are largely hotels that are organized in some sort of a group, which is a hotel chain. So that audience is still very large. It's about 300,000 hotels, and they're organized in about 1,200 hotel chains. That's who we go after. Within hospitality segment, we've also moved into, vacation rental, which is more like the Airbnb, and there are about 6 million vacation rental companies that we can go after, or listings. And then other than that, we also focus on the large online travel agents, like the Make My Trips and the Booking and the Expedias. And we actually work with the top 25 out of 30 OTAs. All the top car rental companies are our customers, all the top cruise liners. So if you think about our audience, other than hotels, we are working with any major travel supplier, which is, car rental companies, airlines, vacation rentals, hotels, and also any intermediaries, which are these online travel agents and traditional tour agents. So, that's sort of like our overall TAM. When you talked about Google as a competition, we really don't compete with Google. We actually use it as a channel to enable our customers to digitally acquire customers through Google as a channel. In terms of our competition, we really don't have an apple to apple competitor. Certainly, nobody in India. Because we are the only company that provides an end to end platform that enables our customers to acquire customers, retain them, and have a wallet share expansion. Most of our competition, I would say, are one trick pony. So, we have internally three different business lines, and under each business line, we have a different subset of products. And for each product, we have a different competitor. So, it's very hard for me to tell you that there is one single competitor that goes across all our business lines and product lines. And there isn't really a true competitor that provides that end-to-end platform. So if I had to simplify it, the way to think about it is, we are the Shopify of travel and hospitality industry.
I like that, or you're calling yourself the Shopify for the hospitality and travel industry. Good morning, Bhanu. This is Nantara also joining in on the interview. Now, during your IPO, of course, you spent a considerable amount of time talking about why you chose to be listing in India versus the NASDAQ, despite, like you said, trying to be the Shopify of SaaS when it comes to the travel industry. My question to you also is, as you do that, aren't you too leveraged as far as America goes? And there are travel restrictions that have come in. Today morning, we're hearing about 5G restrictions that are impacting travel and flights to the US. Would you look to add more geographies, like let's say your home country, India, that I think contributes in single digits, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Nandara. So our focus will continue to be the US. I mean, that's a massive market. And if you look at, reflect on what I just said, our focus is largely on the mid-size and the bigger chains, and most of them are headquartered in the US. And, just in terms of, look, my personal view is, we are really behind COVID. If you look at even the latest numbers in US, the cases are down by 30% in New York and DC. In UK, cases have fallen faster than the surge. And you can see the travel restrictions have been relaxed. You don't even need a pre-departure test now. Even in India, cases are coming down in Mumbai and Delhi. So, my strong belief is that we are going to see, past a few weeks, maybe in the next month or two, we will see a huge surge happening again. I mean, if I were to ask you, what is that one thing you would like to do once this whole craziness subsides? I'm sure you're going to say you would love to travel. And we're seeing that all across. And in terms of our focus in the business, we see a massive opportunity. If I talk about, the TAM that we have, and also the customers that we have, we've additionally launched additional products and capabilities. So there's a huge opportunity to continue to penetrate and also, cross-sell and upsell additional products that we have. And as I mentioned earlier, we are seeing a huge acceleration of our new AI ML based products as this structural shift is happening towards more digitization and also covering up for labor shortages.
talking to Nico, in the first answer that you were giving us, you were also talking about how your products and your data and the SaaS that you have is also for client retention. You're operating in the leisure segment. You're also working with mid-sized chains, as you pointed out. Now, can you tell us a little bit about how, and you have the data for it, how habits may have changed? With business travel being still out of the equation, a lot of it's still, happening virtually, Zoom calls, this, that, and the other. When it comes to the leisure travel, you're not going to have people wanting to go back to the same destinations. So what kind of habit changes have you seen since the pandemic?
So yeah, you're absolutely right. In fact, I would encourage you to, access one of our platforms that talks about travel demand and different destinations. It's demand-ai.com, and even your viewers can sort of look at it to get a sense on how the demand is trending. So what we are witnessing, specifically right now is, as sort of the Omicron threat fades, we are witnessing actually increase in demand, specifically in cities like London, Barcelona, and even here in Delhi. January usually is a busy month because most, especially in Western economies, most summer holidays get decided. And what we saw historically, especially last year when we were in the midst of COVID, there was this movement towards not making long-term plans. So the booking windows were shrinking. But we see this trend now returning back where people are making more long-term plans. And especially now, like I said, we are seeing some of that demand increase happen. But I do believe that in the month of February and March, we will see some sort of surge coming back in terms of, at least the bookings on a long-term basis.
My final question to you, Bhanu, before we let you go. You didn't have the debut that you obviously had dreamt of. It was, we didn't see a pop on the IPO day. But after that, what a strong rebound when it comes to the share price. You've also delivered when it comes to the earnings as well. What were the big lessons learned from that?
So, Nandara, I'll say stock market is a big mystery to me. As one of my friends advised me, that if you look at your stock price, how will you do your business? So, we are here to do our dhanda. Our focus is to continue to invest. I see a huge opportunity ahead of us, as I talked about, this structural shift that's happening in terms of our industry on adopting new AI ML based products. We're seeing some very good traction on the products that we launched, and it's given us the confidence to continue to put in new seeds for future growth. And we are accelerating. Actually, we're investing more in our sales and marketing investments to continue to accelerate the business. So, as you saw, we had a stellar Q3 performance, and my focus and the team's focus here is to continue to build on that stellar Q3 performance, because this is sort of like once in a lifetime opportunity as we see the fundamental shift happening in our industry to grab the maximum land share. And I leave, you and the stock market experts to decide what our stock price should be.
Okay, Bhanu, we'll leave it at that. Thanks so much for joining us live today. You did ask me what's the one thing I would love to do once the restrictions go. It is to travel. And yes, it may be to the US to see my sister. We'll take a short commercial break. There's a lot more to talk about. We'll return in a few minutes with our segment Chartbusters.